Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Tyler Perry has purchased two cable networks, BET and VH1. Now, BET was originally owned by Bob Johnson before he sold it over to Viacom, and VH1 was a major property at one time for music videos for Viacom at one time. And while many in the mainstream media want to celebrate Tyler Perry acquiring BET and VH1 as some sort of accomplishment, I don't really see how this is going to change the landscape as related to the image of black people, because Tyler Perry's content basically presents the same stereotypes over and over again. And the acquisition of BET and VH1 basically is something Paramount is trying to do in order to shed assets that have lost their value, because BET and VH1 are no longer the assets that allow them to make money on the black audience anymore, because most black people now get their media from new black media, and they go to platforms like YouTube to watch content creators like myself and buy content like the books I produce on Amazon.com. So most black people are no longer interested in going to channels like BET anymore to get black content. No, they are getting their content on new black media from black people. So the asset of BET is a depreciating one, and Paramount basically has been losing lots of money over the last couple of years because of bad decisions connected to the Telecommunications Bill of 1996 and the decision to go digital with broadcast analog television in 2009. Now, with the Telecommunications Bill of 1996, Paramount's original company, Viacom, went on a buying spree, buying up channels like BET and looking to try to build a larger base as related to their media oligarchy. However, over the last decade or so, as TV went digital in 2009, the audience is no longer there for analog television or cable television, and what people are doing these days are they have migrated over to the internet, and as they have migrated over to the internet, they are no longer watching content from media oligarchs like Paramount, formerly Viacom, and what they are doing now is going over to platforms like new black media such as this channel and many others, and what they are doing is watching content on new black media, basically walking away from mainstream media. Moreover, companies like Paramount have gone out here and invested billions of dollars into streaming services like Paramount Plus, hoping to try to get many of those viewers who are watching new black media and online YouTubers to watch their content. However, that content really hasn't gained a lot of traction, and because it hasn't gained a lot of traction, what has happened is Paramount has hemorrhaged a lot of money and taken billions of dollars in losses. And as they have taken billions of dollars in losses, many of the cable networks that they acquired for billions of dollars, like BET, or hundreds of millions of dollars like BET, no longer are the assets that they were almost 10 to 20 years ago. And because these networks are no longer the assets that they were over 20 years ago, Paramount is in a place where they need to get rid of these depreciating assets, and that's where Tyler Perry thinks he's getting a deal on BET and VH1, but he's not really getting a deal at all. No, he's just being given a raw deal on a depreciating asset because people no longer watch television, whether it be broadcast or cable these days. No, what they do is come to social media like YouTube and new black media to watch YouTube content creators and the content they create, because people feel a connection to the people on new black media. They have formed relationships with people on new black media, and they trust the content creators on new black media. And because they trust the content creators on new black media, they just basically don't want anything to do with Tyler Perry, who has presented black people in a negative light in most of his content. Because the purchase of BET and VH1 by Tyler Perry is not anything that's going to benefit black people in the long term as related to our image, because even though Tyler Perry has the money to control the media, much of his narratives promote black dysfunction and anti-black racism, and much of the content that is on his platforms is just going out here and presenting the worst images of black people. Much of his content goes out here and demonizes black men as black brutes who go out here and abuse black women, and also foster stereotypes of black women being hapless perpetual victims, or going out here and being loudmouth black women with bad attitudes, all in multiple poorly written shows like Meet the Browns and House of Pain, and many of his Tyler Perry movies or his shows like The Oval. Much of his content really isn't appealing to most black people who want a richer and broader picture of themselves in the media, and that's not something you can get from Tyler Perry as related to his content. Now, Tyler Perry purchasing BET and VH1 really doesn't have much resonance, again, in the black community, because Tyler Perry's content isn't really meant to serve to reflect an image of black people for black people that empowers and uplifts us. No, it's just content that is made by a black bootlick to go out here and present an image of black people that makes white people and non-black people feel comfortable in their smooth world. So what Tyler Perry does is create content that breathes brand new life into stereotypes, and because he makes the kind of content that appeals to many of these whites and non-blacks, that make them feel comfortable about the stereotypes they want to see, this is the only reason why Tyler Perry is being given the opportunity to purchase these networks, because Tyler Perry is going out here and going to ensure that the narratives that whites and non-blacks who are racist want on their platforms, and that's the only reason why he's being given the opportunity to purchase these assets passively that are depreciating aggressively, because again, this is a passive aggressive deal done for Tyler Perry. Again, passively, the mainstream media can say that they're all about diversity by saying, oh, we went out here and gave a black man an opportunity to purchase a network or two networks, but aggressively they know that these are depreciating assets with a shrinking audience. And it doesn't matter if Tyler Perry owns them. These platforms are not going to be profitable, because people just aren't tuning in the 500 channel universe that people have abandoned, because people these days are watching new black media, and as they watch new black media, they are getting their information from new black media, and they're getting their entertainment from publishers and creators like myself. They are going to alternative platforms because they are tired of the anti-black and misandrist narratives and even misogynistic narratives presented as related to the image of black people. This is what many viewers are tired of, and this is why many viewers are walking away from channels like BET, which, when it was owned by Bob Johnson, did give us a diverse picture of black life. Like many of the HBCU games, much of the HBCU life showed us positive shows like Rock and gave platforms for many black comedians. That's what happened under a competent black man. However, after BET was sold to CBS Viacom, it basically turned into a minstrel show and filled with a lot of just ignorant content, a lot of it produced by Tyler Perry. And again, now Tyler Perry is in charge. And again, with Tyler Perry in charge, nothing is really going to change as related to the image of black people. Again, with Tyler Perry in charge, he's the perfect black bootlick to go out here and be in charge of their content, because he, one, is going to go out here and present the views that whites and non-blacks want to see as related to the stereotypes that they want, and two, he's a bumbling, stumbling, incompetent as related to production values on film, and it makes their point that if you give a black person power, he just won't know what to do with it, because Tyler Perry is not a very good filmmaker. Yes, he has money to make films, but he doesn't know how to frame shots. He does not know how to write scripts. He does not know how to write dialogue, and much of his content basically is clunky, uneven, and poorly done. And the white supremacists who control the media don't mind giving an incompetent black man a media platform, because it allows them to go out here and feel comfortable about him failing, because he's not going to be competent at creating content. And eventually, as this depreciating asset loses value and the audience dwindles, they know they can go out here and be able to reacquire this asset and be able to profit at the expense of Tyler Perry. Because Tyler Perry, again, being a black bootlick, is all about trying to get more favor with the white people he's gotten involved with in the entertainment industry. With Tyler Perry running a network, they know that they can go out here and count on him to present the minstrel shows and buffoonery that many like to see. Tyler Perry running BET and VH1 is very much what they want. It's not like when Bill Cosby was out here looking to purchase NBC. Now, with Bill Cosby, he was a competent man who knew entertainment, a competent man who basically created content that revived NBC, a network that was almost on the brink of bankruptcy with The Cosby Show and A Different World, and a man who went out here and presented balanced, humanized images of black people. And the people who control the media arm of white supremacy, they did not want to see Bill Cosby owning a network, because one, you would have a competent black man controlling a wealth building asset, and two, you would have a competent black man controlling a media platform that reflected the black image. So this is the reason why many in the media arm of white supremacy went into a frenzy when Bill Cosby made plans to purchase NBC, because they know that if you get a competent black man who is not a black bootlick, who's going to go out here and create content, what they're going to do is create, like I do on the SJS Direct imprint, balanced, humanized images of black people, and they're going to try to diversify the entire black media platforms to show black people balanced, humanized images of themselves in a rich, diverse picture of lives of all across the spectrum. That's what you would have gotten with Bill Cosby in charge of NBC, because if you look at his content, like The Cosby Show, A Different World, and even his CBS Cosby Show and The Cosby Mysteries, he always presented black people in a very flattering light, and also inspired black people to improve the quality of their lives. Because when we saw these educated professionals like Cliff and Claire Huxtable, and we also saw people like Hilton Lucas, or many of the other characters on his shows like Dwayne Wayne and Whitley Gilbert, we saw people we could aspire to be like. And when we saw these people we aspired to be like, this is what influenced an entire generation to start thinking about going to college after seeing A Different World and seeing black children and going to enroll in college. That was the thing that upset a lot of people, because they wanted to keep black people from competing in the American economy. And that's why they go out here and create content talking about gangsters and thugs as related to the hood in the 90s. And guys like Tyler Perry create content about these abused and victimized black women who are victimized by violent black men who are super brutes. And that's what they want to have on their platforms, and that's why they have no problem giving Tyler Perry an opportunity to purchase these networks, and they have no problem going out here and giving Tyler Perry an opportunity to, again, control the black image, because with Tyler Perry in charge of the black image, they are guaranteed to continue creating the minstrel shows and stereotypical content that makes many white racists feel comfortable about the black image and seeing black people who will never go out here and compete against them by doing things like aspiring to do well in school, or aspiring to go to college, or aspiring to work in a skilled trade. They don't want you to see those kinds of images of professional black folks. They don't want you to see those humanized images of black folks, because what they want in their media are dehumanized images of black folks who fit old stereotypes so that people can say a black person isn't a person. And this is why they have no problem giving Tyler Perry an opportunity to go by these depreciating networks, because he's going to keep the media that they want and the narratives that they want in place. So there again, the only reason why Tyler Perry was given this opportunity is, again, because he's a black bootleg who who goes out here and promotes the anti-black content. And again, they gave him this opportunity to buy these networks, because this is what the white supremacists do in order to keep the wealth as related in their hands. Again, they know they can just look at a person and know who is going to empower black people or who is going to enrich themselves. And there's a big difference between a person who empowers black people and a person who enriches themselves. And again, many of your NBA players, many of your entertainers, they look to enrich themselves, but they don't want to give money to people like myself who want to empower black people and build black wealth, because they don't want people to be inspired to, one, want to go out here and be inspired to do better and improve their quality of life, and two, they don't want to see black people, again, aspiring to go out here and get a competitive mindset. No, they don't want us having any sort of aspirations. So what they want to do is program our minds with toxic and negative media, talking about black men being abusive and violent, black women being victimized by abusive men, black men constantly failing and never achieving success. These are the type of narratives that they have put in much of the media arm of white supremacy, whether it be the literary canon that is filled with books like The Color Purple by Alice Walker, many of these Tyler Perry movies which just feature the worst images of black people, many and much of this other media. They only want a certain kind of media to promote, and they want to have a black face promoting it. So they will give a black bootleg like a Tyler Perry an opportunity to own a network. And again, they go out here and have black people thinking, oh, this is a major accomplishment. But it's not a major accomplishment, because a black person, just because a black person owns a network, doesn't mean that that person's content is showing good character. And again, it's all, when it comes to the media, it's all about content. And again, the owner is the one who is responsible for that content. And that's the most important thing people need to understand about content that you're watching. It's about the owner's viewpoint. And if that owner isn't somebody who's about black empowerment, then in most cases we're going to get anti-black racism, because the person who owns that platform is basically going to be a black bootleg who is out to go out here and gain favor with white supremacy, and will basically sell the black community under the bus. So people, they're trying to make it like, oh, Tyler Perry being the first black man to acquire 2 major TV networks, they're trying to spin that story. But what was Byron Allen a couple of years ago? I mean, he was out here buying networks. And again, nothing is really changing as related to the black image. We've got 2 black men owning major networks, but they're both black bootlegs. And again, because black bootlegs own the networks, nothing has really changed as related to the black image, possibly the way it would have changed had Bill Cosby went out here and bought NBC in the 1990s. Bill Cosby buying NBC might have changed everything, because Bill Cosby, again, there was a whole bunch of people against him. And again, when you see people against someone like Bill Cosby, it's possibly because that man basically was going to go out here and put out counter narratives as related to content and would have reflected a different image of black people. So this is why they didn't want Bill Cosby to own NBC and control the image of black people and change the image of black people in the content that was produced on that network. But they have no problem with a Tyler Perry owning to a network, or a Byron Allen, because they know that these individuals have compromised themselves and their values are in line with white supremacy, and they will go out here and produce content that reflects whatever the white supremacist wants to see about black people, because all they're thinking about is, as they have the money to control the media, keeping narratives in place on places like BET, and again, making BET remain the minstrel show and the forum for minstrel shows that it was back, that it still is right now. And again, this is why they have no problem, even though they are hemorrhaging money, giving this to a black man whose politics and ideas fit within their narrative. They have no problem letting Tyler Perry buy BET, because again, passively it's about a black man who going out here and buying a TV network, but aggressively it's all about that black man fitting the ideas and politics that they want, being the black bootlick who does what they will say, and a black man going out here and fitting the politics and ideas that they want. That is all what Tyler Perry buying BET is all about. It's all about making sure that the black image is still under the control of white supremacy. And while it goes from white hands at Viacom with the Redstone family to Tyler Perry, it's still under white supremacy. It's still run by black bootlicks. And again, the black bootlick is just a white supremacist in blackface. So you're getting the same type of content on those platforms, and nothing really changes about them outside of the owner going from being a white supremacist who is white to a white supremacist in blackface. And again, that's what Tyler Perry basically, to me, is. I mean, when I see a guy like this getting this opportunity, I know that he's compromised a lot of his values to get to this point. And when you see people like Tyler Perry's or your Oprah Winfrey's or your Greasy, or Jay-Z, I mean, these people have sold the black community out. They are not about black empowerment, and it's all about them just having a safe haven to go out here and be a part of the white supremacist institutions. And again, they only gave him this opportunity because his politics and his narratives fit right in line with his white slave masters. Now, if you want to pick up some of my books on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the East Esteem series, the John Haynes series, books like The Temptation of John Haynes, my vampire novel Eternal Night, my sorority novel The Thetas, my black romantic comedy A Recipe for Success, or the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, which chronicle the story of a black goth, you can find all of those rich, diverse stories on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashware's The iBookstore and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos about entertainment and the media, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Support black-owned and black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.